Hi there, welcome back to my channel. What I'm gonna do now is just get these plants that are behind me in the ground in the no-dig bed up in the front lower garden that we just put in. And they've been sitting here for a little while, and fortunately it hasn't been too hot, but I just wanna get them in the ground and kind of get planting for the season wrapped up, I think. I don't anticipate having too much more to do. I mean, famous last words, but I don't anticipate it. So I'll flip you around and show you what I have, and then I'm just gonna move them up into the garden and kind of figure out where I want them to go. I have a pretty good idea where I want them. I'm wanting some attention here. But anyway, I have a pretty good idea of where I want them to go, and so it'll just be a matter of hauling them all up there, getting them placed. Planting should be pretty easy because that soil is obviously brand new, amazing to work in. So should be a pretty simple job and pretty satisfying job, because I'm excited to get plants in the ground up there, just to get the space kind of started off. And yeah, so let me just show you really quick what I'm gonna be moving up to the front. Okay, well, it's the next day. I put all the plants out and kind of moved them around a bit. And then I got too hot. I kind of got too tired. So I sat in the shade and just kind of looked at where I had the plants placed and stuff. And, you know, I mean, it's good, especially when you're planting in this many plants into a new space, to just to look at them. You know, like I've mentioned many times on several of my videos how important it is to me, the view from in my house out to my garden. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, when I looked out the windows from the house, I liked the placement of the plants and stuff like that. So I decided to sit on it for a day, and now I'm back out here, and our garden's pretty much in the shade, so that's nice. We can see it a little bit better now where things are. And so I think I'm going to get these in the ground where I have them placed, and, you know, of course, knowing that things can be moved if I change my mind about it. That may have to happen if the verbena that the superbena that I planted in don't take, you know, things like that. And so, but they're good where they are right now, and so I'm just going to go ahead and get them planted. So I'll turn you around, show you where they're at, and then I'll get them in the ground. All right, so right up here in this front little chunk, I have quite a drift of the superbena, which, in case you didn't see, these were superbena pink cashmere, which could very well be perennial here for me in zone 8B. So I took them out of some boxes in the back patio and transplanted them up here, and so we'll see if those take. That would be quite a large drift of those, so honestly, if they do take, I might transplant out some of them because that will fill in that whole section, and I'm not really sure that I totally want that, but anyway. And then I have some of these French tip Echinacea, one really needs water, that I have a little drift of right here. I'll probably move this superbena maybe over here to the other side of this pathway right here. This is a lot of pink right here, which I'm not too sure that I'm gonna love, and it will be a very similar shade of pink, so I may have to think about that. I have been thinking about that, but I'm not sure what I'll change about the situation. But anyways, these ones are the Concord barberries. There's just 3 of them right there. It's kind of a theme that I have throughout my other beds too, is using Concord barberries in a set of 3. And they stay pretty small. They're just kind of a compact barberry, a sterile variety too, so it's not a problem for me here in Oregon, them being invasive. But if you do have that problem, this variety is sterile, so they won't spread. And then I have the Apache Rose Panicum, which there's one right there, one across the pathway there, and then one across the pathway here. This is kind of a narrower grass. It's only going to get like, I think, 2.5 feet wide and about 4 feet tall, so those won't take up too much room. And then right here in the nook of this little curve, I have the little haughty hydrangea. So that, on this side, you can see what the dogs have done to the pathway that I just put in the other day, but oh well. Here we have some of the pink profusion salvia, just in a little cluster right here, and then I might probably have to move that over, this Weigela over a little bit, because I think it'll get too big for that spot. But that is a sonic bloom, reblooming Weigela from Proven Winners. And then right back here is a viburnum that is evergreen, so I thought that would be kind of nice in this spot right in between the 2 fruit trees that, you know, obviously will lose their leaves. And then tucked back here is the other hydrangea. This is the vanilla strawberry, I think. Is that what I said? Yeah, vanilla strawberry. Vanilla strawberry right there. And this spot right here I am reserving for, I think, my Flipside Vitex. It's up in the front of the house, in the front garden, and it just gets really big. And I think it wants to get bigger than the spot I have it in. So if I transplant it here and just let it go to town, I think it would be more ideal. And then there's just one little Echinacea over on this side. Like I said, another one of the panicums, and then another trio of the pink profusion, which kind of echoes the pink profusion that's on the other side of the pathway. So, and then here's some more of the superbena that's gotten kind of covered up by the mulch. I do think I should probably remember that over here on this side I have some boxwood that are dotted around the edge, as well as the cone boxwoods on the corners of the pathway. So I think I would like to do the same thing here, and so then I should remember to, which, like I said, everything can be moved, but I should probably remember that I'm likely going to want to be putting in just a few boxwoods along the edge, just to kind of replicate what's going on the other side. So yeah, so that's where everything is. Planting should go pretty quick because this soil is super soft, and then I'll just make sure that I have to get these things watered in, because this ground here is, you know, pretty dry since we haven't had any rain recently, and being as it is really good garden soil, it doesn't, you know, new garden soil that I brought in, it doesn't have the same moisture retaining abilities as my clay does in my already established beds. So I'll have to just make sure that these get watered in really well, and yeah, I think I'll just set up the camera and get these in the ground. planted. I don't even know what day I started this video. I don't know what day I started this project. I think it's been a couple days. I just would come out and work for a little bit, and then something would pull me away, and so I'd have to go, take care of that. So everything is in the ground, where I'm thinking it'll probably stay, but who knows? A lot will ride on whether the pink cashmere or superbena survives. If they don't, then those will get replaced. But I think as far as like the shrubs and the grasses and the few perennials that I had, I like where those are. So I'll just turn you around, show you where everything ended up, and wrap this planting project up. Okay, so as I come down this little path from the front lawn, it goes right into across the grass and then into this path here. So on the left side of that path, there's a few of the superbena. You can see just dotted in right there. They'll be kind of just, hopefully a low growing ground cover. And then next to that is just one of the Echinacea. I know that everybody says you should plant things in odd numbers, and obviously one is an odd number, but I don't mind having, like in this area, you can see there's one there, there's one across the path, and then there's 4 over here. I don't mind them kind of being spread out like that. I think in a garden this size, I would rather that than all of them being clumped together. So, and those are the French tip Echinacea. I did have those planted or planned to go right here in front of these Concord barberries, but the Echinacea could get about 20 inches tall, and I realized that though they are short now, they would, grow up higher than the barberries, and that could be okay. But in this case, because it's right here on the edge, and I want to be able to see this view from in the house, I didn't want those to cover those up. So I moved some of the superbena right there, which had been previously planted over here where the Echinacea is now. So then there is the little haughty hydrangea here in this spot. This one stays kind of on the smaller side. I think it's like 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. It's next to one of the Apache rose panicums that is it'll get about 2 feet wide. So this whole area, the Concord barberry, the grass, and then the hydrangea may kind of grow together and touch, which would be just fine. Then on the other side of this path, there is another one of the Apache rose panicums, and then 3 of the pink profusion salvia, just in a little trio right there. Right here, you can see some mess that the dogs made searching for a mole that had made its way up. This whole bed, it was so neat and tidy, and then the dogs happened, and it's not so neat and tidy anymore, but what do you do? Anyway, so then this is a Sonic Bloom Weigela. I'll have to look up the stats again on this because I don't really recall how incredibly large it gets ultimately, but it is a reblooming hydrangea, and it has a very light pinky white flower, so that'll look pretty next to next to the salvia, although I don't even know if those will be blooming at the same time, but that should fill in this space pretty nicely. And there's some area on the other side, and I just have to remember that these probably will grow, so I need to not plant things in too tightly. Over here on this end, I planted in, it's hard to see because it's lost so many of its leaves, but this is a vine maple that I already had in this garden, so it just kind of caps the end of the bed. And then this is a somewhat sad at the moment looking nectarine. It had a lot of nectarines on it, and then it fell over, and I think also my dogs have been eating the ones off the lower branches. But that was in the bed earlier on in the season also, and I dug that up and transplanted it. So hopefully next season it'll be a lot happier. We'll see about that. So anyway, you can see the path is pretty messed up now, and as is this area. I came out here this morning to finish planting, and it was a big, huge hole dug in the bed. I think I need to keep our dogs in their crates overnight because they make a mess out here overnight. And that's a bummer, when you spend time in an area trying to make it nice and pretty, and they dig a big hole and push all the soil out there. But anyways, and then this is a spring bouquet viburnum, just a really sweet evergreen shrub that'll have white flowers in the spring that smell really wonderful. It's kind of dirty because of the dirt getting flung up from the dogs. Here's a peach tree that was also out here that I planted into this spot. I'm going to prune off these lower branches, I think, so that it's, you know, a little bit more of the upright vase shape. Obviously that could make it hard to walk by on the path if these are all growing right out into the path, but you know, time will allow for those adjustments. So then right here is the vanilla strawberry hydrangea. I did have it planted over a little further towards this really narrow maple tree, but from inside it was just too immediately right behind this Apache rose panicum, and I didn't like that. So the dogs had dug a huge hole here as well last night, so I just kind of moved this over and plopped it in the hole they prepared for me. So hopefully, as you can see back here, I need to come back probably just with a blower and blow all that back towards the bed, but yeah, they made that hole for me. And then this big spot here I'm saving for moving a Vitex, the flip side Vitex down here for this spot. So anyway, like I said, there's another one of the Echinacea. There's another of the 3 Apache rose that I have in here. And then some more of the pink cashmere Superbena that, like I've mentioned before, hopefully it will be a perennial for me. It's supposed to be hardy down to zone 8A, and I'm a 8B, so hopefully that will come back. And then right next to that is another trio of the pink profusion salvia, and then a few more of the Superbena. So just pan this way, and there's some of the Superbena on this end. I don't know if I'll keep that there. We'll see, but this area. Anyway, you can see from this side, there's where the Echinacea are, and just the kind of trio of the Concord barberries, and I just like how the grasses flank the pathway. I love the movement of grass, and these ones are especially pretty. So that is going to do it for this planting project. I'm glad to have all these plants in the ground. We're supposed to have like one more day today of pretty warm weather, and then we go back down into the cool fall weather and even possibly some rain. So it feels good to have these out of their containers and into the ground. So I don't know if we'll do any more planting this season. This is kind of when I start to wind down in the garden, when I start to, you know, cut things back and just enjoy watching things change color and do their fall process rather than doing a lot of planting. Although fall is a wonderful time to be planting, I just kind of start to lose steam a little bit as homeschooling starts up and we're, you know, in the thick of that and all that. So gardening just starts to take a little bit of a quieter spot in my life at this point. So I feel good to have these in the ground. I'm really excited to watch this no-dig bed develop and to see what it does next season. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this bed kind of come to life. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.